Welcome to our podcast, Learn Biblical Greek, brought to you by Dr. William Stewart, the co-founder of Teleios. This captivating podcast teaches you biblical Greek through a verse-by-verse study of the book of Ephesians, interjecting Greek grammar, Greek word meanings, and vital theology concepts. Thanks for joining us on this exciting biblical journey. Your study will be more effective if you use the Greek text with the Bible word codes, either on the eSword download or Bible Hub website. These links are on our podcast website at www.teleiosresearch.com.
Hi, I'm William Stewart, co-founder of Teleios. Welcome back to our podcast on learning biblical Greek. We come to a wonderful verse this time, Ephesians 5, verse 20. We're in a section of positive commands, admonishments from Paul to those who have become Christian by faith alone in the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. It's right before the great marriage passage. And really so much of what we just covered about how to live life attentively, carefully, matured in the Spirit, speaking godly things and being thankful, all play in the marriage as a great foundation. And so does this verse, and is really a good practice for our Christian life and for our Christian marriages. So let's go to the Greek text and look at it and see what we have today. Verse 21. Upotosmeni. So here's a verb, and let's work through it like usual. Upo is the prefix. There is no augment epsilon, so we know it's not a past tense indicative. Tasso is tas really is the root word, and it's that double S. Remember, if you have a double S or a Z, that sort of means that you have this old consonant iota from Greek that's disappeared, or a digamma also disappeared. And this form is only in the present tense. This is Mutz's 7-part classification of verbs. If you have his morphology of Greek text, it's the second one. Outside the present tense, those old consonants come out, and it usually looks like a Z, and I think in this case an X, actually. So actually, if it's a Z, it'll have an S, and the two S's come out, it'll be like a Z sometimes. It's very variable. So I think the double S and the Z are tip-offs to the second grade in the classification. O, of course, is the connecting vowel. O is or E is the connecting vowel for the present, the future, and the second aorist. Men, as you know, is the morpheme that tells you it's a passive or middle in the present or future, or middle for the second aorist. Second aorist. So remember? So that OI ending is the nominative plural masculine. So basically this means to order under, tasso and upo, or subjugated. Alelos, so one another. That OI's S ending, of course, is the dative, plural, masculine. Subjugated to one another in that ever-present preposition, translated in, but more flexible in the Greek than English. So at, on, by, beside, by means of. Phobo takes the dative because it's in place. So we have the omega, which is the dative singular in the masculine or neuter, and theou, ou ending, is the genitive, in this case masculine, of God. So subjugated to one another in the fear of God. Now, what does this verse mean? It can be confusing. First off, let's deal with two issues. One is fear. Every Christian I teach does not like the idea of fearing God. They say, well, it means respect. And I heartily disagree. It's where we get the word phobia. You know, if you think of arachnophobia, fear of spiders, you come across a spider and you fear him, you say, you don't say, I respect you, Mr. Spider. Somebody would run away. Okay, get away from a poisonous spider. There can be a real fear there. So I think as Christians, as born again believers, we realize that God is our Father. And so when we sin or do bad, we fear Him like our Father. That's one aspect to it. Our salvation is not, it's not at risk. Losing it is not in view. We are in His family and secure as a born again believer. However, we're also dealing with the God of the universe. And I think we should treat Him with fear and handle Him at that relationship with great care. It's interesting, in the Old Testament, fear was viewed as a positive thing. And Deuteronomy said when He wanted His people, the Israelites, to mature, He wanted them to learn to fear God. Proverbs 8:13 is very instructive in that the fear of the Lord, not always the beginning of wisdom, but in I think chapter 1, but in Proverbs 8, it's to hate the things that God hates: pride, arrogancy, a froward mouth, I guess a dirty mouth. And so I think as we learn about God and learn to hate sin, hate the things that He hates, I think our fear increases because we realize how mighty and wise that God is. And we know about Him. So fear is a positive thing. So it says to submit to each other in that fear. What's that mean practically? Does it mean if you want me to come clean your house, you can come and say, look, submit to me, come clean my house? I don't think so. We're submitting to each other by what God deems important. And that's in Scripture. Okay, so I think no matter what our position in life, if we learn from another Christian by Scripture that maybe we shouldn't be doing something, we should gladly submit to that person in the sense of submitting ourselves to Scripture. And we're getting to the part of marriage. I have a very godly, brilliant wife, and at supper time, I'll raise theological issues and questions, and we'll discuss it. Sometimes I say one view and she says another, and oftentimes, maybe more than the other way around, she's right. I don't get offended by that. I as we'll learn down below the next few verses, I'm responsible for the relationship before God. So that doesn't mean I'm insecure. I want her to be right. She's a very talented, godly woman. So I'm glad, and I'm learning from her. And that's a wonderful thing. So I will gladly submit to what she says in the fear of the Lord, because scripturally she'll be right about something. So very important lesson. We all should be humble and love God so much and fear Him so much that when we hear His word from no matter what source, we'll gladly submit so we can be more obedient and godly. Okay. Thanks for joining me today. We'll come to the marriage portion next time. What a great passage. Please join me then.